Welcome in. You're tuned to the Dudley Hilton Show. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, and joined by Coach Dudley Hilton, head coach of the University of Pikeville Bears. Coach Dudley Hilton retired as the winningest active coach in high school football, 34 consecutive winning seasons, and now off to a 2-0 start in this 2013 season of Bears football. Coach, welcome in once again. These shows are easy when we're coming off wins, and the Bears have looked good in the first two.
Well, you're right about that. I mean, we've really looked good, no turnovers, and playing top of our game right now, and that's when it comes the hardest. Is I told the coaches today, that's when we got to coach the hardest, because our kids get overconfidence and they get relaxed, and we're not that good that we can afford to get relaxed.
In your time in high school football and now your third season of college football, a lot of times early in the season is when you see teams make mistakes, turnovers, penalties, those type of things, mental mistakes. Sometimes a turnover is a physical mistake, but many times over the course of history, those happen early in the season. This team doesn't seem to be making a lot of those mental mistakes and the turnovers early in the season.
Well, we talked about it on the first show that we had this year, how many returners we have. So when you're a returner, you've been out there in the far, it's a little different. And, we got a lot of defensive players back from last year's team. We got a lot of offensive players. So hopefully that's one of the biggest reasons is right there, because we got some experience. I know we got a new quarterback, but still you got the same running back. You got a lot of the same receivers. So they're running the right patterns. The offensive linemen's getting better, and our defense is also getting better and adjusting to our new defense coordinator real well. And just things just fell in place, but we're doing it with I like to say again this word with men instead of with boys. Sure. And hopefully our men will keep staying on business and staying on course and doing what they're supposed to do.
Absolutely. Of course, a 56-13 win over Bluefield. It's a Mid-South Conference East Division win. It counts in the Mid-South East standings. Now 2-0 coming off the wins over Moorhead and Bluefield. Next up, Edward Waters, Florida, and we'll talk about that matchup tonight. Also, we'll talk to a couple of the Bear players from the offensive side. Offensive lineman Brandon Ball. From the defensive side, a name that a lot of folks throughout the mountains know, Josh Salmons, played his high school football at Mate 1 and doing a tremendous job in the secondary for this Bears team. Also, a new addition to your coaching staff that I know you've been very pleased with and really landed in your lap, a guy with this pedigree. Brian Williams, he was an all-SEC performer at Kentucky, over 350 tackles as a player at Kentucky. He's coached on the Division I level and has a great coaching experience that he brings to you, and he's been a great addition that we've seen so far.
Yeah, well, I think you got a great show lined up here tonight with these people you mentioned there, and again, these are three guys that contribute to our program, and you one kind of started this having another coach on the show and other players, and let our community hear about these guys and where they're from and what got them here at Pikeville. So, people are excited to hear from these guys tonight, but just a great group of guys right here we got that we can bring on this show.
Of course, a lot of the Bears players, we would love to have each on during the course of the season, but that's a big roster, and it would take a few more shows. But we try to highlight players and get a little insight to their life as a student, how they became a U-Pike Bear, how they arrived here, some influences in their life as well. And we all know that high school coaches are a great influence on many young men's lives as they continue and play at the next level. Coach, we talk about Bluefield, and something that is a regular feature on the Dudley Hilton Show is an injury report, because you have players go down there in the course of games, and it's become an issue. The injury report got very long late in the year last year. We want to check on the injury report coming off Bluefield.
Well, right now I feel like we're very healthy. New Keith Richardson, another night, starting his first game in 4 years, or playing in his first game in 4 years, took a bang on the sideline, and I think it's more precaution than it was anything, but he's back at practice and he's ready to go. But everybody else got a few nagging. I think Amos has hurt his elbow a little bit, but he's ready to go. And I just right now, winning kind of helps everybody gets feeling better, and you rub it and go on. So hopefully, knock on wood, right now things are injury-wise, things are looking good for that part of it.
Take us into a University of Pikeville football practice. Of course, summer camp, tough. The kids get worn down. They look forward to summer camp ending. They begin to look at the countdown clock to game one, Morehead State. You get a win. It's a good week of practice. You go into your first Mid-South Conference game, a home opener, and you get a big win there. Everyone's feeling good. As you go back into practice, what is a practice session like for the Bears coming off a 2-0 start and going back to work preparing for their first road trip of the year?
Well, first thing, we try to relook at that last game we played on the film and get that put away and make sure we make all of our adjustments. But we come back in, and last year we came in on Sunday and ran them quite a bit, but we're kind of backing off of them this year a little bit. We feel like we're wiring them down a little bit, and hopefully we got some gas in our tank come the last half of the season. Sure. And hopefully it all pays off. But like this morning, we started at 10 minutes to 6 out on our football field, and that's morning now, not in the evening.
That's
so,
right.
We go about 2 hours, and well-planned defense coaches, they got their groups where they're working, and then they come against the offense a little bit, and then we have scout teams, and they run the opponents' plays that they're going to run on Saturday, and they work together with that. The defense got a group they work against, and the offense got a group, and we go at about 2 hours, Andrew, pretty darn hard. And our kids, they like the morning practice. We do that on Tuesday and Wednesday. Then we'll have a Thursday afternoon practice and our pregame on Friday, and that's pretty well. We try to stay in a rhythm, and we lift weights right now 3 days a week, and that's we try to lift on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and just trying to just keep them organized and keep them on a system. But playing on this Thursday night kind of throws us off a little bit. Sure. But we sure make sure we got 2 days we dress full, other day we dress shell, and that's a pretty well practice schedule.
Let's talk about breaking down film. Of course, a 56-13 win. Obviously, everyone walks off the field last Thursday night happy. Huge win and a convincing win. But as coaches get back into the office, they start looking at film and break that down. Grade the team's performance, even at a 56-13 win. Obviously, you're going to take that win. But when you break that down, how does the team score as to where you want to be late in the year? Well,
I try to sit in with the offensive group coaches and watch the game film and listen to them, and then I go and sit and listen to the defense coaches, and both of them are picking out mistakes. If they don't, I'll try to what about this or what about that, But anyway, just listening at them and watching the film, Andrew, you wouldn't have thought we'd won 53-13
Sure.
or 56-13. You thought we might have got beaten, and that's what we should do. We should pick out all the good, all the bad things, because the good things take care of itself.
Right.
And again, that's what I told the players there when I met with them Sunday night. I heard too much. We didn't get this block, or we didn't hit the right hole. We didn't run the right pattern. Then over on defense, well, we didn't wrap up. We wasn't where we're supposed to be. So we're making these corrections, and again, that's what Coach Williams and Coach Holland, being your coordinators, they hang their hat on. Their film is their resume and what they
Sure.
do. And right now, it's the whole ball game. You've got to have a good film session, and like I said, the good plays, the hard catches, the good things that take care of itself. You've got to pick out the bad things that to correct you, to get you better. And I'm a real big man in the film watching. I just don't think you can get better, because the old saying, the film don't lie. And
That's right.
we really put a lot of emphasis on it. And I tell you, with technology today, you could almost pick a fly on your nose. You can tell there's one out there on your nose, because you can see everything.
Sure.
There's nothing you don't miss, because we get a side shot and then we get the end zone shot. So there's 2 shots that you get on every play, and that's why you don't miss it, because you're going to either sit behind or sit on the side. And during the game, you might say, well, I ran the right pattern.
Right.
Well, when you get home and you look at it on the film, I can come back, Andrew, you did not run the right pattern.
Right.
This is what you ran. So that's good that you have the film of it so you can correct kids.
I have to ask you, because I had an old coach that in film session following a Friday night game, he always, when he saw something he didn't like, he was run it again. run it again, replay it. Is Dudley Hilton that way? Does he want to look at those multiple times?
Well, I watch them quite a bit, but again, I depend on Coach Williams and Coach Holland to really break it down, be hard on their coaches, and make sure that nobody's getting relaxed. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and soreness, I can pick it out pretty well in the game anyway. So if I can see you walking off the field, I can see soreness, and the other 2,000 or 3,000 up in the stands can too. So we try to nip that, but the film watching it's very important to me, because I want to know why we score or why we stop somebody. I don't want to do it by luck. And if you depend on luck or you depend on emotion, then you're not going to win many. Right. You better depend on execution the right way, and the only way you're going to do it is correct your films and be a good film shower and a film watcher.
Quick question: third year now at the University of Pikeville. When you broke down film after a good start in your first year, as opposed to heading into week 3 now in your third year, are there less mistakes now? Is this program? Are you seeing growth in the program by the mistakes minimalizing?
Oh, yeah. I just think, again, we're dealing with a new breed of kids. When I first came here, but it was mostly all freshmen, and that's what we had. And now we're dealing with 14 seniors and so many juniors. And, we're a senior-junior ball club, and they had a few sophomores and freshmen in there. So, that's why your films are so much better now, because you're not correcting so many mistakes. Sure. And you can, if you miss a tackle, it's not the coach's fault. He's got you in the right spot to make the tackle. If you're running the ball and you miss the hole, it's not the coach's fault. There's the hole and you didn't hit it. So that's why you're not seeing so many mistakes like that, because of the experience we got.
Absolutely. Bears starting to grow up. You're tuned to the Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. On tonight's program, we'll go to the offensive side and meet player Brandon Ball out of North Laurel High School, and he's on the offensive line. We'll go to the defensive backfield, and we'll meet Josh Sammons out of Matewan, West Virginia. We'll meet the new defensive coordinator at the University of Pikeville, Brian Williams, as well. And when we return, Coach Dudley Hilton and I will take a look at last week's highlights in the win over Bluefield. You're tuned to the Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. Right back right after this.
Hey now, come on, let's go. The music's playing, I've got to move on, to go out, no more delaying. Pack my things up, carefree, adventures waiting. I'm heading out to see the rest of the world.
Welcome back in. The Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. We talk all things U-Pike football, and the Bears off to a 2-0 start, coming off a 56-13 win over Bluefield. That's a Mid-South Conference East Division win, and also a win over Division I Morehead State, as the Bears off to a 2-0 start, heading to Edward Waters College in Jacksonville this Saturday. Before we talk about that, we'll take a look at this week's highlights from the win over Bluefield. But, Coach, I've got to ask you, back-to-back Thursday games now. You go to Morehead, very short trip, but a Thursday game. And then your home opener, a Thursday game. I think the fans liked it. A lot of folks from around the area, high school fans, able to see your team on a Thursday night, kind of a kickoff to the weekend. How did you and your staff, how do you feel about the Thursday games, and what do the players seem to think?
I feel like we didn't, skip a beat as far as our practice schedule and everything we did. I just thought it worked right in there great. I think our coaches enjoyed their weekends off a little bit, in which we don't get a weekend when we play on Saturdays.
Sure.
So I think they kind of enjoyed that a little bit, getting out to high school games and everything. But it was great for us. I thought the crowd was great, and being on a night game, that sun set down there, and I thought it was a beautiful evening for football here in Pikeville.
Absolutely. Had a great crowd on hand. There's been talk the Mid-South Conference playing with the idea of going to more and more Thursday games during the regular season, and I haven't yet to find anyone that had anything negative to say about it. I think a lot of folks would like to see that. I think it adds to the crowd and the excitement in the stands with students still on campus, because so many students still travel home on the weekends, and I think it allowed a bigger student crowd Thursday.
Right now we're planning another Thursday night game. That's Cumberland, Kentucky. It'd be our next home game. We got 2 away games, and thinking that we're going to come back on that next Thursday and play Cumberland on live TV on WYMT. So that'll be an interesting night also.
Absolutely, a great mountain rivalry game, and on a Thursday night. Right now, let's step back and let's take a look at the highlights from the 56-13 win over Bluefield. Coach, you've got it started. Here's Browning to Amos. We've heard that before.
Yeah, he takes a simple little pass, and I think he picks up 17 yards off of it.
I asked Jordan Amos after the game how he gets so wide open. Shante Zachary here, and he's down inside the 5-yard line, got between the receivers, and Reese Browning hit him in the numbers.
Yeah, and here goes Seth Miller. You know, he's right now has a little touchdown run. He knows where that end zone's at, that's for sure.
Good job by the O-line there. No one touched him.
Here's a big play by your boy, Tyler Woods. I tell you, just you can see right there the gang tackling and Big Taylor there, Hamlet. He just goes back to the huddle and do it again.
He just takes care of business. Just takes care of business. Reese Browning again. This time he hits Richardson on the slant, the post pattern. A nice game.
Yeah, that's the first time New Keys has played in 4 years. I'm glad to see him out there on the football field, and he's going to be a weapon for us.
Here's Graham getting his first looks in Thursday's win as well, and he hits Amos on the run.
Yeah, he made a heck of a bullet pass right to Amos, and great one there. Here's his second pass right there, and hits Amos for an easy touchdown.
No one within 15 yards of Jordan Amos. That's the play I'm talking about. How does that kid get lost?
I don't know. He sure does. There's Crutcher, a boy from Lexington Bryan Station down there. Comes in, makes a big hit there behind the line of scrimmage.
One of Coach Williams' LBs I know he's proud of.
And here's a punt return by New Keys. This is one he gets hurt on, but a couple good blocks right there, and comes down the sideline there. And I thought it was going to be gone, but boy pushed him out of bounds there, and about a 45-yard return right there.
It just ran out of room. Big Graham here, multifaceted quarterback. He can throw it. We've seen that. Here he is on the run with a great pickup, and what a great addition. Picks up 23 there.
Yeah. Here's another one. This is the sign play right here. He walks in for an easy touchdown.
Creates a lot of problems for the opponent's defensive unit.
This young man you had on the show last week, that's your Haddock's boy that from Breathitt County there, Jade, made a big hit for about an 8-yard loss, and made a good play there.
Double-digit tackles last week in the win.
Right. Here's another pass to Zachary. You know, a lot of people didn't know Zachary was my quarterback over in Bell County. He led us to the 07 state championship over there, but he's a receiver there here.
Remember those days, and he's just as valuable at the receiver position here.
Right. And here's a big pass by Browning to Amos, another big run, and I just thought Reese did a great job at quarterback also. And here's a lot of pressure on the quarterback right there, big hit, and here's your boy Josh Salmon return it, and I thought he was going to be gone right there, but he stayed right with his blockers and about 40 yards.
Knows what to do with it once he gets the ball in his hands, but that interception also, Salmon's great job in positioning coverage, but pressure on the quarterback forcing that.
This Chris Ross made a big sack behind the line of scrimmage for a 3-yard loss. And
Ross and Hilton, both names we called quite often on Thursday night. Browning going deep down the far sideline. 2 receivers out there, and both a little gimpy after this play.
Yeah, they sit there and got their senses back to them a little bit, but they hit pretty hard.
Browning this time hits Miller, and Miller just walks into the end zone again. Against Moorhead, a couple of 100-yard rushers. More in the air this week.
Right. Here comes the option again. Everybody plays the line and takes them right straight down the line. When you get them running to the sideline, Andrew, you're in pretty good shape right there.
But the defense did a nice job playing the option most of the night.
That's Chris Ross's again. This is Shantez Johnson on a big catch. You know, Shantez, we got glad to have Shantez back in the lineup, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. Graham in at quarterback now.
Here's
Handoff, Terrell.
Terrell boy, you had him on your show last week. it didn't go to his head about being on a show, did he? He still ran the ball well.
Runs hard every time he touches it. He'll have another big run later in the game, I'm sure we'll see.
Yeah.
Graham rolls to his left. Boy, he's tough for teams to stop.
Yeah.
Such an athlete.
He's just going to give us a good weapon, and hope him and Reese there can continue to keep working together.
More defensive highlights. Haddock's there forcing that quick pitch.
Yeah, and there's a gang of us. See, I just feel like having a gang tackling, Andrew, is what's really helping us, and we're punishing people now, and really looking good. Here's, I think this is Avis Griffin pass there, about 13 yards gain. That might be his first catch as a Bear.
I believe so. And again, Miller got a big hole, knew what to do with it, bounced outside, got a downfield block, and he trots to the end zone. Running backs like it when they don't get touched.
No, that's right. That's 32 yards to pay dirt right there.
Talked about Marquise Terrell, and he'd have another big run. I think it's coming here.
Yeah, it's a big one. He's got a little speed. And like I said, he didn't get to play last year, and here he is making up for lost time.
Taking advantage of every opportunity, and he shows quickness and the moves to avoid tacklers there.
Yeah. And I think this is their last one again. They ended here on an interception, and this is Gillespie, Michael Gillespie. He tries to pitch somebody, just needs to be glad he caught the ball.
Absolutely. Take that turnover, and I know Coach Brian Williams that we'll talk with, pleased with the turnover margin and the job his defensive unit did there. 56-13, the Bears win over Bluefield, go to 1-0 in the Mid-Southeast and 2-0 overall. Next up, Edward Waters in Jacksonville this Saturday, 2 p.m. kickoff, and Coach, we'll talk more about that. We'll get a little scouting report on that team when you come back. I've got Brandon Ball, Josh Sammons, and your defensive coordinator, Brian Williams, coming up. And overall, great on the Bluefield win.
Well, I thought we did a lot of good things. I thought Bluefield was a little bit better than they were last year. Offensively, they had that triple option. I thought we did a good job of being where we're supposed to. And then our offense, they mixed up a little bit more passing this week than they did last week. And, I just thought things started falling in place a little bit better. Like I said earlier, we seen a lot of mistakes on the film.
Sure.
We got to keep getting better, and we just got to, keep working on things. But right now, I just thought we played well. Being the first home game and just early in the year like this, I thought we was ticking on quite a few of our cylinders anyway.
Absolutely. Coach Dudley Hilton, he'll return a little later. We'll take a look at Edward Waters and a scouting report. Coming up next, we'll talk with defensive coordinator Brian Williams when the Dudley Hilton Show returns. It's presented by Appalachian Wireless on Z1075 and Pike TV.
Hi, I'm Elisha Justice, a transfer student here at the University of Pikeville. I will be a junior next year, and I am majoring in business administration. I grew up right in Dorton, went to high school at Shelby Valley, and I'm a really big family person. Looking forward to be back home and be around all my family and all my friends, and to play basketball here at the University of Pikeville. I'm Elisha Justice. Join me at the University of Pikeville.
Welcome back in. The Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, and we talk all things U-Pike football. We'll step into the Bears Den in just a few moments. We'll meet a player from the offensive side and the defensive side and gain their perspective. Right now, we'll talk with one of the assistant coaches and one of the newest members of the U-Pike staff, Coach Brian Williams, former player at the University of Kentucky, played under Coach Jerry Claiborne, played with one of my former teammates, and a member of the Hall of Fame Bowl teams at Kentucky. I think wrapped up a career at UK, over 350 career tackles, and as a senior, voted most valuable senior at UK. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Brian Williams.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for all your support here at U-Pike. We appreciate everything you're doing for us.
Coach Williams, you come to the University of Pikeville with a tremendous resume. I guess your career started at Tennessee as a graduate assistant. You've been at Pittsburgh, Fresno State, Cincinnati, Ohio State, Texas A&M Commerce. Those are the ones that I can recall. But you've been in and around a lot of great programs. How does Brian Williams land at the University of Pikeville?
One of the big deals that I wanted to get closer to home.
Sure.
I still have family in Middlesboro. I had family in Prestonsburg, and I thought it was important to come back home and be around them more. You start getting to the age of 48, 49, 50, and your family is just so important. And that was the main reason. The second reason, of course, is any chance you get a chance to work for Coach Hilton.
Sure.
What he's done in this state as a high school football coach and the pride he talks about trying to build this program to a level that it's never been to, and it just grabbed me, and I wanted to be a part of it.
Absolutely. And of course, mountain guy from Middlesboro. Let's go back there. Let's go back before UK, and let's take Brian Williams back to those days. What influenced you most as a player growing up, playing football before you got to the college level?
I had 3 older brothers that used to take me out in the front yard and whip my butt.
Yeah.
And it just graduated. They always talked about, hey, they saved the best for last.
Sure.
And so those guys, Tubby, Clinton, Julius, all pushed me to try to be the best I could possibly be.
Right.
And the coaches, the teachers, the people in the administration at Middlesboro High School will always mean something to me.
Absolutely. Then, of course, you go on to a playing career at the University of Kentucky, and you play for one of the most respected coaches in Kentucky football history, and that's Jerry Claiborne. Talk about that experience.
It probably has been the most influence on me in my life. A lot of things that he taught us back in college about being the best, being on time, being responsible for yourself are things that I still take a lot of pride in. So in other words, he was probably a father figure to me other than my dad. He helped me grow up.
Sure.
He pushed me through hard times, and I appreciate him for that.
Let's talk about Brian Williams' entry into the coaching world. What influenced that decision to go into coaching?
Just what the coaches had done for me in high school and in college. I wasn't ready to take the pads off, and I kind of felt like the best thing to do is to step into the coaching ranks.
Any regrets?
None at all.
Talk about maybe one of the best or one of the greatest things you've learned from a coach during your career. I know you've been with Guy Morris. You've been a lot of different places, but a coach that something you learned from during the course of history, your coaching history.
I think most of the coaches I've been around, including Coach Hilton, have talked about being respectful.
Sure.
Be humble when you're winning, but be hungry. I think that's important if you're going to continue to build.
A couple of terms that I've heard from some of your defensive players over the last couple of weeks on this show: humble and hungry. They've all mentioned that.
Yeah, that's for us to take our next step to improving every week. We've got to keep everything on a certain level and take the next step. With our defense, it's a process. It's only going to get better and better.
You hold Moorhead to 10 points. You give up 13 to Bluefield. As you break down film after those 2 wins, grade the Bears' defensive unit in each of those wins.
I've been really pleased with both performances. The main thing about it is you went from a spread-out offense in Moorhead to running a different scheme to coming to play Bluefield, which was an option attack.
Sure.
And that takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of character amongst your players. So I'm really pleased about that aspect of it, that they could put on the brakes and completely change what we were doing.
No, you weren't around last year. Those of us that have been around the program for the last couple of years, we've seen a change in a defensive attitude, maybe a more aggressive defensive scheme. Is that part of the way you coach as a defensive coordinator?
Our main philosophy on defense is that we're going to create havoc. We're going to be physical at the point of attack, and we're going to make people play on their side of the ball. And that was the attitude we took at the start of the year, and we're not going to stop.
We can continue to see that, because I got to say, as a broadcaster, as a fan, we like it.
I've enjoyed it too, especially the Moorhead game, to see our kids make some hits that I didn't see in fall camp.
Sure.
Was very impressive.
How have you been impressed by the players that you have on the defensive side? I know you didn't have a role in recruiting these guys. They were kind of handed to you. There's some quality players there, some mountain kids, some kids from away from the area as well. But talk about how the impression of the players, the quality of athletes that you have.
I tell you, the one thing that I talked to our guys about in the first meeting that we had was that we had to buy into the system.
Sure.
We had to play as 11 as one. We had to take the selfish attitude out, and the kids have did that, which is a great accomplishment for those guys.
Let's talk about Edward Waters coming up Jacksonville on Saturday. What do you know about the team?
I know they have a lot of athletes.
Sure.
Most of their kids being Florida kids, there's a lot of speed on the field. They have a very physical front offensive line and a very agile, elusive type quarterback.
How do you stop that?
Anytime you play an option football team, we've been talking all week about taking care of the dive, the quarterback, and the pitch. And if you're responsible for something on the backside, you better stay at home.
Yeah, you had guys that were facing that similar type offense with Bluefield, maybe a different caliber athlete last week. Were you pleased with your defensive unit's play against the option?
There were a few situations that happened in the game that we busted some assignments that could have given up some big points. The advantage of it now is that we've had a chance to correct it. And as a unit, we don't expect that to happen again.
Where's this team defensively after 2 weeks compared to where you want them to be?
It's a process. We want to be better than what we are now. We want to grow every week, and our goal is to be an important fixture into this program.
Do you have individual or team goals for your defensive unit weekly and maybe for the season?
Yes, we do. We carry 10 goals per week in each game. It could be anything from rushing yardage, total passing yardage the team got, third down conversion, a number to tackle for losses. And in the first 2 weeks, in the first game we were 7 for 10, and the last game we were 8 for 10.
It's a pretty good grade on a scale.
And it's a compliment of our young men.
Sure.
They have bought into the system. They come to practice every day hungry. And they're asking, Coach, give us more, give us more.
Humble and hungry.
Yes, sir.
The Bears' defensive motto. Coach Brian Williams, welcome to Pikeville. You've been a great addition. We look forward to seeing that aggressive defensive scheme the rest of the year.
I'm so happy to be here. I appreciate the support we get from our administration and, of course, you Pike fans.
Welcome back to the mountains, Brian Williams, the defensive coordinator at the University of Pikeville, now off to a 2-0 start. We'll step into the Bears' den next, and we'll stay defensive-minded. Josh Salmons of Matewan up next on the Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. Welcome back in. It's the Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host. We talk U-Pike football. The Bears off to a 2-0 start, 1-0 in the Mid-South Conference East Division. And we've talked to the coach. We've taken a look at Bluefield highlights and met the new defensive coordinator, Brian Williams. And we'll stay on the defensive side as we step into the Bears' den. It's one of my favorite segments. It keeps me young to be able to talk to some of the players around the Bears program, but also a little insight into the student athletes that are part of the U-Pike football family. Welcome in Josh Salmons, 6 foot, 190-pound redshirt junior out of Matewan and Marshall University. And Josh doesn't know this, but I had an opportunity to see him play high school football quite a bit during his days at Matewan. Josh, welcome to the Dudley Hilton Show.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great part of the Bears defensive unit, defensive back. We'll talk about that. We want to talk about your new D coordinator and some of the things around the football side. But first, Josh Salmons, student athlete. Student comes first. Let's talk about your academic major and what you plan to do in the future.
I'm working on my English degree. It's my last semester, and I hope to teach after I graduate and hopefully coach football one day.
I was going to say, what influenced you maybe to go into the education field, and is it a coaching thing?
It's a coaching thing, but it's also my parents. My mom's a counselor.
Sure.
I've been around that all my life, and it's just what I want to do.
Good field to go into. All those high school coaches out there, look out. There's a new one on the way. We want you to wrap up that playing career here first. Josh Salmons, Marshall University, you landed there and then transferred to the University of Pikeville. Talk about that story and how you arrived in Pikeville.
Well, when Coach Jones was here and when Coach Hilton first came in, they got a hold of me, and I wasn't playing there my sophomore year, so they got a hold of me and got me here, told me I could have a chance to play some football again, and I was like, let's do it.
Didn't miss a beat.
No.
Didn't miss a beat. And of course, you had missed some time. How tough was it sitting out and then stepping back into the pads?
It was a little tough. I mean, coming in playing college ball, taking a year off, that's something it's hard to get back in the group to do. But I kind of adapted, and it worked out good.
Absolutely. Let's go back to your childhood. Well, a lot of times we talk to college athletes, they started playing football at a young age. Let's talk about when Josh Salmons first put on the pads.
I think I was 5 or 6 years old when I first put the pads on.
Wow.
I was young.
Let's talk about growing up. You played your high school football at Mate 1, and of course you carried the football quite a bit now on the defensive side, but carried the football quite a bit in your high school career. How tough was it to give up the football and go to the defensive side?
It was definitely different, playing quarterback in high school and touching the ball every play. But defense, that's what I love. I love to hit, love to make big plays.
Absolutely, and we've seen that. Josh, as you go back in your football career, all the way back to 5, 6 years old, putting on the pads for the first time. And I would imagine everyone in the Mate 1 area, kids when they're 5 or 6, they put on the pads
Yes,
that
sir.
early.
Yes, sir.
It's a football area, no doubt about it. But going back to those early years through middle school and high school, talk about some football influences in your life. Who influenced you most?
Almost definitely my dad and my grandpa and my brother, of course. We were football raised. Everybody played. It's just like a tradition at Mate 1. And also my head coach, Yogi, in high school.
Absolutely.
That's a really big influence right there.
Yeah, absolutely. He's influenced a lot. And I know parents certainly an influence. Friday nights at Mate 1, you knew where to find anyone in town.
Yes, sir.
Turn out the lights as we head to the stadium. Josh, you've got a new defensive coordinator. Of course, you've been around the program. Brian Williams steps into that role this year. There seems to be a change of attitude on the defensive side. Talk about that and what Coach Williams means to the defensive unit.
Coach Williams means a lot. He's by far the best defensive coordinator I've ever had coach me. And we're getting after it. We're buying in, and we're getting after the ball.
All right, buying in, I've heard that. Humble and hungry.
Oh, yes, very hungry.
What do they mean?
We're just getting after it.
You feel like the past couple of years, maybe the Bears teams have sat back and waited for other teams to do their thing?
I do feel like the past few years we've been just really we're not really, I don't know, we've been soft, I believe.
Sure.
I feel like now we're getting after it, we're hitting people.
This is Josh Salmons type of game, I can tell.
Yes, sir.
Gets you excited. It gets you hungry.
Yes, sir.
I can see that. You head to Florida this week, big road trip, first road trip, real road trip of the season for the Bears team. We'll discount Moorhead because it's just down the road. As you head there, 2-0, heading on that road trip, what has the atmosphere been like on the practice field and in the locker room this week?
It's been really exciting. We got a lot of kids from Florida. They're
Sure.
looking forward to going back home. We're really excited about it and hope to get in there and get a win.
Coach Williams talked about some goals each game for the defensive unit. Let's talk about some goals that maybe Josh Salmons has individually and for each game, but for the season in particular for Josh.
I'll definitely turnovers, interceptions, any chance I can get one, and as many tackles as possible.
Saw an interception during the Bluefield highlights, and got a chance to see you carry the football again. That bring back old memories when you were wearing
really good memories.
Yeah, when you were wearing the Mate 1. Josh Salmons, 6 foot, 190-pound junior out of Mate 1, and you'll see him in the defensive backfield wearing number 20. He's one of our favorites. He's a mountain kid, and he is one of our U-Pike Bears. And be sure and catch them as they take on Edward Waters this Saturday in Jacksonville. Josh, best of luck this week and the rest of the year. Fun player to watch right there. He's a guy that likes to apply the pads, and that's what this game's all about. Stay tuned. We'll go to the offensive side. One of the guys in the trenches, Brandon Ball out of North Laurel, when we return to the Dudley Hilton Show presented by Appalachian Wireless.
the end. It's just beginning. Life is getting lighter while the days are getting brighter, yeah.
Welcome back in the Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host. We're talking U-Pike football. We're here every Tuesday at 6, live on Z1075 and live streamed at Pike TV, and of course replayed throughout the week as well on Pike TV and PikeTV.com. We talked U-Pike football. We've talked with Coach Hilton, the defensive coordinator, Brian Williams as well. We've gone to the defensive side in the Bears Den, and now the offensive line. Brandon Ball, 6'3", 310-pound sophomore offensive lineman out of North Laurel High School, our guest. Brandon, welcome to the Dudley Hilton Show.
It's nice to be here. Thank you.
2 wins. What's the atmosphere in practice?
Yeah, well, we're pretty excited right now. We need to keep working and get ready for the next team.
All right, Edward Waters up, the road trip. We'll talk more about that in just a moment, but let's talk Brandon Ball. Let's talk about the student athlete and go to the classroom. What's your major? What do you plan to do in the future?
I'm undecided right now. I haven't really figured it out yet.
Just taking those core classes and
Yes,
preparing for on down the road. Brandon, of course, the offensive line, we've seen them solid against Moorhead. I wasn't in the film breakdown. I don't know how coaches graded you, but we were pleased with the performance. You look at Bluefield and no sacks allowed, and I know the quarterbacks, the backfield, they're pleased with those numbers when you guys are getting it done. We saw Seth Miller, we saw Marquise Terrell, both with huge holes that led to touchdowns. How would you grade the play of the offensive line in the 2 wins thus far?
Overall, I think we did pretty well. I mean, you can't say we did too bad with both of our running backs having over 100 yards rushing.
Against Moorhead, you're correct.
I think we did pretty well.
Absolutely, and the quarterbacks really had plenty of time in the win against Bluefield as well. Offensive line seems to be growing up, and it's been a source of contention for some over the years past, but this team's starting to grow up, more experience up front now. How good can this offensive line be?
I think we have a lot of potential. There's a lot of room for improvement right now.
Let's talk about, obviously, some offensive goals for linemen. Obviously, you want your guys to get rushing yardage. You want to protect the quarterback. Are there team goals that are just for the offensive lineman?
Well, Coach Heineman gives us cheeseburgers when we don't get a sack, so I mean,
that's the best motivation I can think of.
I mean, for an
right
offensive lineman.
Absolutely. Guys in the trenches, they like to eat. And, you know, offensive linemen, I know you take a lot of pride in the blocks that you have, opening holes. You had a chance to see the highlights tonight. You saw some of those big holes. Do you get a chance to see those plays when coaches are breaking in down film with you guys?
Yeah, we see the plays, and some of them we see our mistakes too, you know, so.
I was going to say, because I wasn't sure that they were letting you guys see the same films that we see with the highlights, because obviously those are plays that have worked. Or if they only gave you the plays that there were mistakes made.
No, we see all the plays, and even if the plays work, sometimes we have mistakes on them.
Sure. How close is this team being where they can be?
Well, I think still there's a lot of room that we have to improve on, and there's just got to keep working.
Brandon, what's practice like for this U-Pike team? Off to a 2-0 start. Obviously, the coaches want to keep the team hungry and focused on the next opponent, but I would imagine it's much easier in practice off to a 2-0 start rather than 0-2.
Yeah, that is true. We just got to keep working, and you know, we're pretty excited at practice. You know, just being at practice for wins. You know, so but you gotta get the grind on.
Got to get it done. Edward Waters this Saturday in Jacksonville as you head on the first real road trip of the year. A little scouting report. What have you guys seen on Edward Waters in scouting reports?
Well, we haven't got our scouting report yet, so
okay.
I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot, but we've got film. So.
Offensive line, how much difference does it make in a defensive scheme that's coming at you guys? Does it make a huge difference in the way that you guys attack the play?
Most of our plays still work the same, you know, but with you know, our new defense we have, they run a lot of different fronts at us in practice, and
right.
So we're pretty much getting used to all the fronts really.
Brandon Ball, 6'3", 300-pound sophomore offensive lineman out of North Florida. I've got to ask the question that everyone tuned in is wondering tonight. Are you a fan of Duck Dynasty?
I mean, it's all right. I don't watch it often.
Okay, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's got the beard going on. He is our Duck commander on the offensive line. That may stick. That may be the nickname for
right.
Brandon Ball. Will that work?
That would be fun.
The Duck commander right there. Brandon Ball, he's one of our offensive linemen, making the big holes for the running backs, protecting the quarterback, and getting it done in the trenches where weaker men don't want to be. Brandon Ball, off to a great start. Best of luck the rest of the year.
Thank you.
All right. Brandon Ball, our guest on the Dudley Hilton Show. When we return, Coach Hilton returns, and we'll get a scouting report on Edward Waters and preview the Bears' first real road trip of the year. The Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. We'll be right back.
The biggest thing about Pike, you have that one-on-one with your teachers. You know everybody in your class. You have teachers who will work with you. If you need help, they'll stay after. It's a real good feeling. It's a family atmosphere. I mean, everybody here is super nice. Will do anything in the world to help you. And it's just that homey feeling. You don't feel away, especially as a freshman. I mean, that's huge. I'm Jennifer. Join me at the University of Pikeville.
Welcome back in the Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, joined by Coach Dudley Hilton as now we prepare for Edward Waters College. Jacksonville, Florida, 2 p.m. kickoff Saturday. It's the longest road trip of the year for this Bear team and the first real road trip. How do you look for your team to respond?
Well, that's, we'll next week on this show we'll know how they respond, but we've made some good trips, and again it goes back with experienced players that we got. Last year we went to Belhaven and Bethel, and both of them are a lot longer in this trip, and I just think they'll it's going to be a business trip. We're not going to Florida and go to the beach and have a big time. We're going down there try to win number 3 and come home with a win.
Quick scouting report on Edward Waters College. What do you know about them?
A lot of athletes, really a lot of athletes. Offensively, they're going to run the triple option. You heard Coach Williams tell you that, and so we got a game last week under the belt on stopping the triple option, but it's a lot more speed than the Bluefield team did, and defensively they're going to come at every angle at Coach Holland. That offensive team, they're going to really come, and they got the athletes to do it, but I'm sure he's found some wrinkles in their defense that he'll use some quick games and some things that he's got planned for them. So I think both my coordinators, they're prepared for the next game, and our next game is Edward Waters, and I know they'll both be ready to play.
Coach 2-0. Let's bring back number 3 this Saturday.
Thank you, Andrew.
It's the Coach Dudley Hilton Show. Thanks tonight to defensive coordinator Brian Williams, our guest, along with offensive lineman Brandon Ball and DB Josh Salmons of Mate 1. Be sure and tune in Saturday. We'll have complete coverage of the Edward Waters game from Jacksonville beginning at 1:45 on Z1075. Complete coverage. We'll keep you up to date as the Bears travel to Florida, looking to bring back win number 3. And be sure and tune in again next Tuesday at 6 for another edition of the Dudley Hilton Show. It's presented by Appalachian Wireless.